wasn't able to prepare the translator about him. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if I want to give my heart away. That's what the song is all about. If it's love or just a game. It's like how much I love you. And when I think of you, I don't know how I feel. I'm not really sure if I want, because I think the girl really loves the guy. So she doesn't know if it's love or if it's just a game. So that's my song for you, Jarpo. Yeah, it's Korean, but I wasn't able to prepare the translator. But it's more on, I think it's the girl or, I mean the girl or the boy, if, you know, they don't know if it's true love or if it's just a game. But he love or she love that person that much. So that's the song is all about. And again, wow, thank you, Sir Lester. Ooh, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. And so that's my song for you. And Game Shakers, good evening and welcome. How was your day? I have my reggae tonight, so everyone is open for, you know, for request. Any kind of song would you like me to sing for you guys? So since you don't have your song request yet, I'm gonna sing my list. And yeah, please don't forget to follow each other, guys. It's I'm not comfortable with my headset. So I'm gonna sing my next song, and I hope you guys will like it. There's a lie, certain kind of lie that never showed on me. love somebody, to love somebody the way I loved you. In the rain, I see your face again. I can hear another song. You ain't got to be so blind, 'cause I'm so blind, I'm so blind. I'm a Rasta man, can't you see what I am? If I ain't got you, ain't got you, you don't know what it's like. Baby, you don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. Have my second voice. And that's my song for you guys. And welcome, Mademoiselle. And thank you guys for coming and for your support. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna sing my next song for you guys. Hang. Okay. It's hard, when you change your headset, it's hard. I'm really having a hard time, but I need to buy a new one, for sure. So every song is reggae version. Yan. And Jarpot, good evening to everyone. And again, it's a turtle night for me.
Marami tipid hacks online. Legit ba? Let's find out.
Let's find out. Legit? Is it legit? This is one of my favorite songs, but it's a reggae version. I hope I can make it. Stars on the sky, burning in your eyes. You look at me and then I wanna catch on fire. Dirt in my soul, like California gold. If I don't lie to me that I couldn't find. So when I'm all choked out, but I can't find the words. Every time I say goodbye, baby, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I'll always remember us this way. Lovers in the night, but trying to ride. We don't know how to run, but time we try. But all I really know, you're where I wanna go. The part of me that you will never die. So when I'm all choked up, but I can't find the words. Every time we say goodbye, baby, it hurts. When the sun goes down and the band won't play, I'll always remember us this way. So that's my song for you guys. I hope you're not sleeping yet. And yan. Thank you so much everyone for
Sa
coming
mundong
and
puno ng siguro,
for joining me
gamit lang
tonight.
sigurado. Queen Cross.
So, I have a lot of, well, I just have a few songs of a reggae because it's hard to find actually reggae song because most of them are regular songs. And hello Ate Grace, good evening. You know what? Earlier I visited Miss Lane, and the Lolo Fillmore was there, and Miss Lane said, "Where is Ate Grace? Lolo Fillmore is here." Yeah, and good evening, guys. And hello, Rom Chill. Good evening. How are you guys? So let's chill for tonight's reggae show of mine. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Hey, there's a look in your eyes. First sight, you were just part of a dream, nothing more. So it seems now couldn't wait much longer. Just can't forget a picture of your smile. 'Cause every time I close my eyes, you come alive. The closer I get to touching you, the closer I get to loving you. Give it time, just a little more time, we'll be together. Every little smile, special smile, the twinkle in your eyes in a little while. Give it time, just a little more time, so we can get closer, you and I. Good evening to everyone. Sorry, guys. You more, so much more than before, Baba. Why does it seem like a dream? So much more, so it seems. I guess I found my inspiration. It's just one smile, you take my breath away. So hold me close and say you stay with me now. The closer I get to touching you, the closer I get to loving you. Give it time, just a little more time, we'll be together. Every little smile, that special smile, the twinkle in your eyes in a little while. Give it time, just a little more time, so we can get closer, you and I. Just a little more time. I get to touching you, the closer I get to loving you. Give it time, just a little more time, we'll be together. Every little smile, that special smile, the twinkle in your eyes in a little while. Give it time, just a little more time, so we can get closer, you and I. And good evening, guys. Ayan, sorry. Is my mic okay? You know, I'm not comfortable with my headset. That's why sometimes it's hard. I need to get used to it because I have to change. I'm using just a regular headset and not my original one, so I'm having a hard time. Which one is better? Game Shaker, do you have your song request? How are you, Game Shaker? And thank you for coming and for joining me tonight. I hope you're not lonely anymore, and I hope that I can accompany you tonight. So, do you have any song requests? You didn't tell me what's your favorite song last night. What's your favorite song, Game Shakers? And Ate Grace B. What's your favorite song? So I can sing you a song. So while you're thinking, I'm gonna sing another song, okay? And Sir Lester, thank you so much. Sir Lester, do you have any song request? Thank you so much for the beats. Thank you. So I'm gonna sing another song, guys. That you guys are still having your dinner. I know everyone is here in the Philippines. It's already 9 p.m. and some people are just having their dinner, and some are ready to go to sleep. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. Not sure, but I love Beatles song. Beatles song. Let's try to look for a Beatles song. And what about you, Sir Lester? Do you have any song requests prepared? Okay, I'm gonna sing a Beatles song for you, my dear friend. But you have to be patient because I'm not Beatles. I'm just P. Agatha. Let's try a lot of Beatles song, and this is for you. Beatles song. But my internet is so bitter. My internet is so bitter. And good evening, Sir Paul. And guys, don't forget to follow and visit Sir Paul as well.
Made sweet.
Thank you so much, Sir Paul, for coming and for dropping by. Good evening, good evening. Okay, I'm gonna sing my next song, and my song is Yesterday. Very low pitch, but I'll try. This is for you, my friend. Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday, and suddenly, why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. 'Cause I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. So that's for you, my friend Shakers. I'm gonna sing all Beatles, ha. I think I love that to sing Beatles too right now. The letter B, letter C, the letter D. Hello, Sis Mavi. Good evening, guys. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking a word of wisdom, let it be. And in my hours of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking a word of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper word of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in a world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will say, there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, oh let it be. Whisper word of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. Adele. At Grace, do you have any? Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Whisper word of wisdom, let it be. Let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines in me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking a word of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, just let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper word of wisdom, let it be. Let her be. And that's for you guys. And to my friend, Game Shakers. Guys, please don't forget to follow Game Shakers. And to Sir Lester, good evening. And thank you so much for your support. What's Adele's song would you like me to sing, my God? Ate Grace, do you have any idea of the title of Adele?
Sarap at sustansya na abot kaya. 20 pesos lang. Jolly
Adele.
Love.
Let me see. Si Adele. Adele. Letter D. Letter D. Letter B. Letter C. Oh, letter G. Love that one too. Yeah, we will continue singing the Beatles later. I'll do that because I think it's a good song as well, and I rarely songs. I rarely sing the songs of Beatles. It depends on the request, but now I hear it. Now it's so good. Adele, Adele. Chasing Pavements. You know, Ate Grace, I don't know the Chasing Pavements. Remember, the Chasing Pavements. I just know the chorus, but let's look for the song. Easy on Me. Don't easy on me, baby. Hang on na. Let's look for Adele's song. All I Ask Adele, right? Rolling in the Deep. Guys, are you mad? Only Ate Grace can sing the Rolling in the Deep. Let's look for the song. Hang on. My internet is so turtle. Turtle. My internet is so turtle. All I Ask. Okay, this song.
I've made up my mind.
How are you? What happened to you? I haven't seen you on live. Easy on Me. Go eat. This one na lang, All I Ask. It always reminds me of Ate Ruti. Because it's Ate Ruti's favorite, right? Yeah. Same here, actually. You know, yesterday I have, it's really frustrating, you know, when you're preparing to go on live earlier, and then it took me like 2 hours to prepare everything. So this is for you, Sir Lester, and to everyone. I hope you guys will like my version because I'm not Adele. I'm just P. Agatha. Excuse me. I believe my heart at the door. I won't say a word. They've all been said before, you know, so why away? Just play pretend like we're not scared of what is coming next, or scared of having nothing left. Look, don't get me wrong, I know there is no tomorrow. All I ask is if this is my last night with you. 'Cause hold me like I'm more than just a friend. Give me a memory I can use. Take me by the hand while we do what lovers do. It matters how this ends. 'Cause what if I never love again? I don't need your honesty. It's already in your eyes, and I'm sure my eyes, they speak for me. No one knows 'Cause what if I never love again? Let's this be our lesson in love. We remember us. I don't wanna be cruel. Oh, vicious. For forgiveness. All I ask is if this is my last night with you, just hold me like I'm more than just a friend. Give me your memory I can use. Just take me by the hand while we do what lovers do. It matters how this ends. 'Cause what if I never love again? And that song is for you, Sir Lester, and I hope you like my version. It's quite high. And thank you so much. Hang on, let me, yeah, live, okay. Tara. Sige po, dun yun. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming, and I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for staying up with me. Kuya Jeff, do you have your song request? Thank you so much, Kuya Jeff, ha. I know! I remember I have my promise to you. But what is the day today? Because I can do it over the weekend. Because I still need to look for I will do it for you. Game Shaker, thank you. And good evening, Tita Ethel. Good evening. And welcome to my live stream. What is your favorite song, Tita Ethel? And welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for dropping by, Tita Ethel. How are you? And just wait a minute because it keeps on logging on my end. So we'll continue to sing the Beatles for my friend, Game Shakers. I think it has a lot of good songs, oldest but goodies, right? Let's check. In my life, I love you more. Tita Ethel, what song would you like me to sing for you? I know you're very good in, listening for music. So I'm gonna sing another song, In My Life. Let's try, In My Life. In my life there ain't no melody. I think that's not the song. I think the song, there were places I remember all my life, and some remain. Well, I have a very, very weak internet here in the Philippines. We have a very, very weak signal. I don't know why. So sometimes it took me a while before, before it logging in on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to, maybe because of my internet, anything that in my life. That one, okay. In My Life by the Beatles or Cool Ledesma, because there are two versions. In My Life by Cool Ledesma and the versions of the Beatles. Just wait a minute, Tita Errol. still imagine all the people. This one. My internet is so weak. It just kept, on. What happened? My gosh. My gosh, my gosh. So I'm gonna sing the, yes, the, in my life. In my life. I think, so bagal. My apology, guys, because the internet is really, really bad. And good evening, Qs. How are you? Okay, okay, okay. Why I can see it in my life? Ah, I can find it. What I can see is the version of Isa Sigera in my life karaoke. Let's check which one is better. I still logging on. Let's try this one. There are places I remember all my life. Though some have changed, some for better, not for better. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places after moments with lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some were there and some are living in my life. I love them all. It's the version of the Beatles, so low. These friends and lovers, there is no one compares with you, and these memories lose their meaning when I think of love as something new. Oh, I know I'll never ever lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll open, stop and think about them. In my life, I loved you more. So I know I'll never ever lose affection for people and things that went before. I know I'll open, stop and think about them. In my life, I love you more. So that's the version of the Beatles. So, Baba, diba? I'm shy. So that's for you guys, and that's for everyone and Tita Ethel. I don't know which one is the better one. I can find the Kulidesma version. And to Game Shakers, yan, it's also for you. So let's sing another song for you. Let's go back to my reggae. Reggae, reggae, reggae. Imagine all the people. And, okay. Sorry. No. So bagat? So. Okay. It's always bagal. Then you know that's the problem. Here in the Philippines, we have a very, very slow connections. Unlike with other countries, right? And good evening to everyone. This is for you guys. When I feel like the world's gone bad and you need you so bad, but I don't know where you are. I cry these tears on my own. We've been so far, we've swollen to moon, and we've counted a million stars. My love still true. His friends have come and gone. Some have left me alone, but I've stared at these walls before, and they made me blue. All along in my heart I've known there's one thing in my life that still rings true. I can count on you, count on you to be there. No questions in the air, no asking why or where, no looking back. Count on you every time to ease my worried mind. You forever remain important to me, my miracle friends. If I had to choose one place to spend the rest of my days, anywhere will do, long as it's close to you. Every time to ease my worried mind. I've traveled so far, yet I'm right back where you are. Just me and you. Now and forevermore, as the years go by, I'm beginning to see that I can count on you. And good evening again, everyone. I'll read the messages. It's your favorite, Tita Ethel. You know, it's on my list, but I have to sing a few songs. Maybe the song is waiting for you. Oh my gosh. And that's one of my favorite song as well. Before, when I used to sing that song, it made me cry. It makes me, sometimes I'm wondering about, friends who betrayed, and the friends that stayed, And thank you so much, Tita Ethel. And yeah. So I love that song. And tonight is my reggae playlist. So all my songs is reggae version. And thank you so much, Game Shakers. Are you trying to copy? I think this one is from other artists that, they created their own emotes. That's why, I told Miss Aleta to create her own emotes soon. Wow. Thank you, Tita Eto. That's very cute song, yeah. You can count on me. Thank you so much. And again, good evening to everyone. And if you don't have any song requests, guys, I'm gonna sing some of my song list. It's original. Yes, correct. The original one is by Tommy Show. Tommy Show. Tommy Show. I love that song too. When you're in pain with your friends and you read all the, if you read between the lines, it makes you feel bad, right? And hello, Gobby. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for coming. As long as you love me. Hang on. Game Shakers requested as long as you love me. As long as you love me. Okay. I'm gonna sing that song for you. As long as you love me. But you have to be patient, because I'm not Backstreet Boys. I'm only Tia Agata. Okay, let's try to sing this song for you. Yeah. And Gabby, thank you so much for coming, and good evening. So let's try to sing this one, yeah. Yeah, it's in my list because I have this I have this artist who keeps on requesting this song as well. So for all the requests, I have a very good moderator. All the requests has been encoded immediately. And thank you guys for coming. Thank you so much. Good evening, Gabby. So this is for you guys. Cannot find. Although loneliness has always been a friend of mine, I'm living my life in your hands. say I'm crazy and that I am blind, risking it all in a glance. How you got me blind is still a mystery. I can't get you out of my head. Don't care what is written in your history, as long as you're here with me. I don't care who you are, where you from, I mean what you did. As long as you love me, who you are, where you're from, don't care what you did. As long as you love me, baby. Things that you had said and done, giving deep within me. Doesn't really matter if you're on the run. It seems like we're meant to be. I don't care who you are, where you're from, I mean what you did. As long as you love me, who you are, where you're from, don't care what you did. As long as you love me, baby. As long as you love me. I've tried to hide it so that no one knows. When you look into my eyes, what you did and where you're coming from. As long as you love me, baby. I don't care where you're from, I mean what you did. As long as you love me, who you are, I mean where you're from, what you did. As long as you love me, where you're from, what you did. As long as you love me, baby. As you love me, baby. Me, baby. So that's for you, my friend Game Shaker, and I'm just listening here. Okay, it's okay, Tita Ethel. I think, what time is it right now in there? I think it's quite late. Okay, I'm gonna sing Grow Old With You, and Miss Gabby, do you have your song? A song, Adele? Adele. Wow, it's 5:43. Wow. Adele. Okay, I'm gonna sing, what's the next song? Adele, I think I have encoded the Adele All I Ask. I sang that song earlier, but I can sing that for you, Miss Gabby. And what's this? Grow Old With You. Okay, I'm gonna sing those songs for you. What's the Adele? I actually sing this song. Miss Gabby, all I ask. Okay, I'm gonna sing that song, and I'm gonna sing the Grow Old With You. Tita Ethel, why not sleeping? You have to take care of yourself, ha? Okay, I'm gonna sing this song again. This is for you, Gabby, and I hope you like my version. Just Gabby. Okay. Sometimes it's hard for me to, to pronounce the name. My apology. But I'm not so good in this song because I just learned this song from a friend because it's her favorite too. But I will try my best. They've all been said before, you know, so wide awake. Just play pretend, like we're not scared of what's coming next, or scared of having nothing left. Look, don't get me wrong, I know there is no tomorrow. All I ask is if this is my last night with you, just hold me like I'm more than just a friend. Give me a memory I can use. Take me by the hand while we do what lovers do. It matters how this ends. 'Cause what if I never love again? This song is quite high notes. I believe your honesty, it's all there in your eyes, and I'm sure my eyes, they speak for me. No one knows like you do, and since you're the only one that matters, tell me, who do I run to? Don't get me wrong, I know there is no tomorrow. 'Cause all I ask is if this is my last night with you. Just hold me like I'm more than just a friend. Give me a memory I can use. Just take me by the hand while we do what lovers do. It matters how this ends. 'Cause what if I never love again? Let this be a lesson in love. We remember us. I don't wanna be cruel. Oh, precious. All I ask is if this is my last night with you. Just hold me like I'm more than just a friend. Just give me a memory I can use. Just take me by the hand while we do what lovers do. It matters how this ends. What if I never love again? And that's for you, Gabby. Thank you so much for requesting the song. And I hope that next time I can sing this very well. I actually learned this song a few months ago from a friend. You know, when I heard a lot of, good songs, made me realize to, learn and study the song. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming and for joining me tonight. Thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna sing another song. What's that, Tita Ethel? You were in the bathroom. It's okay, Tita Ethel, as long as you're doing well and you have a good health there. That's okay. So I'm gonna sing another song requested by Tita Ethel. Tita Ethel, are you there? Do you know Angel Baby? I'm not sure, Tita Ethel.
Good
Let
day
me
for a
check.
date. Bad day for kate.
Let me check
Makadandruff
the
yan. Mag-new
Angel Baby. I think I know
Head and
that song.
Shoulders
I'm not
every
sure.
day. So
Let
you're
me
up
check.
to 100% dandruff-free every day.
So I'm gonna
Head and
sing
Shoulders.
this next song. Wow, I wanna grow old with you. Everyone who wants to grow old with you. With our loved ones, right? So. I wanna make you smile whenever you're sad. Carry you around when your arthritis is bad. All I wanna do is grow old with you. I'll get you medicine when your tummy aches. Build you a fire and a burn and spray. Oh, it could be so nice growing old with you. And I miss you, kiss you, give you my coat when you are cold. Need you, 'cause with you, even let you hold the remote control. So let me do the dishes in the kitchen sink. Put you to bed when you've had too much to drink. Oh, I could be the woman who grows old with you. Excuse. And I miss you, kiss you, give you my coat when you are cold. Need you, 'cause with you, even let you hold the remote control. So let me do the dishes in the kitchen sink. Put you to bed when you've had too much to drink. Oh, I could be the woman who grows old with you. I wanna grow old with you. So that's for you, Tita Ethel. And good evening to everyone, and good evening, Jewel. Ayan, thank you for dropping by. And Game Shakers, Tita Ethel, Gabby, thank you so much. Jarpot, ayan, please don't forget to follow Jewel. Ayan, she's one of the streamers as well. And please follow my friend, Game Shakers and Jarpot. And what else should we have to sing for you guys? Let's proceed. I wanna grow old with you. Okay. And thank you so much to everyone. So I'm gonna sing another song, but it's reggae version.
The Real Station.
Angel Baby. Let me check. What's the Angel Baby? Let me check that song. Angel Baby. Let me check. Angel. Angel Baby. Angel Baby. Angela Barfield. Let's see if I know this song, The Angel Baby. But if not, I want to try to learn that song. Angela Barfield. Angela Barfield. Let's see. You know my mic is so big. You know my face is so small.
With a hand cheese and selfies.
They said, whenever I sing a song, my mic almost, look at my mic and my face, it's too small. Just kidding. Okay, this song. Baby, you're my angel. Okay. So my face is almost, too small, so sometimes you can see my face. Okay, I'm gonna sing this song. This is for you, Tita Ethel. I love this. I love this song. Okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to wait a lot. Because my internet is so fast. My gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is for you. And again, thank you so much. And welcome to everyone. And I hope you have a good day and good night while listening to me. Did you think that your smile could hide what's on your mind? No matter how I tried, I just couldn't be so blind. We've been close, but people grow, and they sometimes grow apart. There's just one thing I asked you, if you had a change of heart. Break it to me gently. If you have to, then tell me lies. Break it to me gently. At least leave me with my pride. Try to spare my feelings if the feelings have to die. Just break it to me gently. If you have to say goodbye. I'm not ashamed to admit it's really hurt inside. After all, these are my feelings. Why should I make them hide? But I won't hold you back. There'll be no pulling on your stay. Just let me down easy and go softly when you leave. Break it to me gently. If you have to, then tell me lies. Just break it to me gently. At least leave me with my pride. Try to spare my feelings if the feelings have to die. Break it to me gently. get there if you have to say goodbye. Darling, what's that? Darling, can't you see what losing you has done to me? I'm not the same girl I used to be. Have a change of heart. Don't leave me standing in the dark. Don't let confusions keep us apart. Come back to me, and all the tenderness and love you'll ever need. 'Cause this time I'll be sweeter. Our love will run deeper. 'Cause I won't mess around. I won't let you down. Have faith in me. To know by now, love is the look in your eyes, loving the way you smile when I say, I wish that you would stay. You bring out all the beauty in me. I love and cry out all the truth in me, out of love. You should know by now. Haven't you felt by now just what it's like to be loved? Knowing that certain touch when you show someone gave you more. You bring out all the best in me. I wanna hold you till you feel the need. Somehow you should know by now. If ever could just find the words, I wouldn't be left so lonely. If you were my one, then I'd show you how. Sorry, the
God's DJ
commercial.
Gummies with Omega 3.
It is commercial. My apology, guys. Somebody everyone, and that's for you, Tita Ethel. And thank you so much for the beats. And hello, Ate Cheryl and Jam Jam and Apex Predator. Good evening to everyone, and welcome, welcome to my reggae night. And thank you so much, Tita Ethel. If you guys have your song requests, just feel free to request your song. But I have I'm on my reggae night. Yeah. This one is also good, no, Tita Ethel? But I don't know. I don't know the song, but baby, you're my angel. Yan, hang on na, guys. Again, my internet is so bagal. This is really, sometimes it's frustrating when your internet is so weak and you have to reload everything. Okay. So my next song for you guys is no, not that one. I'm done with that song already. And tonight I give it to the feeling. 10, 9, 8, 7. Are you experiencing the same thing? Thank you so much, guys, for all your love and emojis. And thank you, Tita Ethel. And thank you, Q's. And Sir Lester, thank you. I'm gonna sing reggae version of At My Worst.
L'Oreal Station.
L'Oreal Station. What? No lol. What is no lol? Can I call you baby? Can you be my friend? Can you be my lover until the very end? Let me show you love. Oh, I don't pretend. Stick by my side even when the world is giving me. Oh, don't you worry, I'll be there whenever you want me. I need somebody who can love me at my worst. No, I'm not perfect, but I hope you see my worth. 'Cause it's only you, nobody knew I put you first. And for you, girl, I swear I'll do the worst. Ooh, ooh, oh, ooh, oh, oh, ah, ah. 'Cause ooh, 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 oh, oh, ah. If you stay forever, let me hold your hand. I can feel those places in your heart no one else can. Let me show you love. Oh no, pretend. I'll be right here, baby. You know I'll sing all sweet. Oh, don't you worry. I'll be there whenever you want me. I need somebody who can love me at my worst. No, I'm not perfect, but I hope you see my worth. 'Cause it's only you, nobody knew I put you first. And for you, girl, I swear I'll do the worst. 'Cause ooh, oh, oh, Good evening, Coach Jackie. Thank you so much. Coach Jackie, it's not Zumba. It's reggae version. And yeah, thank you so much everyone for the dancing emojis and everything. Tita Ethel, Game Shakers, Jarpot, Coach Jackie, and Lutong Barkada. Welcome.
When the stakes are high at work,
And
your tone matters.
thank you for dropping by
Grandma's
and
advanced
for
tone
coming.
suggestions can
And
Because when you
to
write
everyone
just the
down
right
there,
confident
thank you
tone,
so much,
you can
Jam,
meet any challenge to move your project forward.
Cheryl, ayan. Guys, don't forget to follow each other if you don't follow yet. And, So what else should I have to sing? Since it's my reggae, all my songs are reggae. That's why. And Jarpot. So let's try another song. And let's shout out our Lutong Barkada. Okay. You know when you're stressed, diba? And it's good to hear this kind of music. I was standing all alone against the world outside. You were searching for a place to hide. Lost and lonely, now you've given me the will to survive. When we're hungry, love will keep us alive. Don't you worry, sometimes you just gotta let it ride. The world is changing right before your eyes. Now I found you. There's no more emptiness inside. When we're hungry, 'cause love will keep us alive. I would die for you. Climb the highest mountain, baby. There's nothing I wouldn't do. I will find you. There's no more emptiness inside. When we're hungry, 'cause love will keep us alive. I would die for you. Climb the highest mountain. 'Cause baby, there's nothing I wouldn't do. I was standing all alone against the world outside. You were searching for a place to hide. Lost and lonely, now you've When we're hungry, love will keep us alive. When we're hungry, His love will keep us alive. When we're hungry, His love will keep us alive. And good evening to everyone. And again, thank you so much, guys, for coming and for joining me tonight. Ayan, let's welcome again Lutong Bahay. Wait, and yan. Lutong Bahay. Sorry. It's just me. Ayan. And ayan, Tulutong Bahay, Zarpot, Coach Jackie, and my friendship. Guys, don't forget also to follow Game Shakers, ha. Let me introduce you my newfound friend, the Game Shakers. And welcome to R.S. Lee. R.S. Legal? Mr. R. Mr. R. Because I'm having a hard time to... Sorry. Am I correct? Did I pronounce your name correctly? And to everyone that I missed, and thank you so much for coming, for joining me tonight. If you have your song requests, just feel free, because my genre for tonight is reggae. But I can skip and sing another song for you guys. And again, thank you so much for coming and for staying up with me. I hope that. So I'm gonna sing my next song. To love somebody. Did I sing this earlier? You're the kind of love that never shone on me. I want my life to live with you, live with you. There's a way. Everybody says to do each and every little thing. But what does it bring if I ain't got you? Ain't got you. You don't know what it's like, baby. You don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. My brain, I see your face again. I know my frame of mind. You ain't getting me so blind, and I'm so blind, so blind. I'm a girl. Can't you see what I am? I live and breathe for you. But what does it do if I ain't got you? Ain't got you, baby. You don't know what it's like, baby. You don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. You don't know what it's like, baby. You don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. You don't know what it's like, baby. You don't know what it's like to love somebody, to love somebody the way I love you. So that's my song for you guys, and I hope you like it, and I hope Tita Eto's sleeping already because it's already 6 a.m. in the morning. And thank you so much everyone for staying up with me and for keeping me alive and kicking. And also I'm inviting you guys. We're going to have a collab over the weekend with our
Wow Fiesta Melody
Coach
Dance
Jackie. I know you're there. Should I promote it? Should I promote our collaboration with the No Tagalog? the No Tagalog. We're going to have a collab with Ate Flora, with Sarah B. Sarah B doesn't know it yet because I haven't talked to her yet. And Coach Jackie, of course, the one and only Coach Jackie, this coming Friday. So, with Ate Grace B, she doesn't even know it also. So, I'm going to create our banners for the collaboration. So, I hope you guys will come and join us for a very, very, very anti-stress Friday. So, I'm gonna sing my next song. Q's, are you okay? Have you eaten your dinner? Okay. So I'm gonna sing my next song. I have my one last
Kantahan kahit saan.
song list on my reggae song. But I have a lot, but it's Pinoy. I think I have to
Tambayan
look for the
Karaw.
version. I'll try if I can do the translation immediately. Why, wrote the season down. Gotta get me right when I hit the ground. That you went your way and I went half wild. Well, girl, you'd understand if your heart was mine. If we had an exchange of hearts, then you know why I fell apart. 'Cause you feel the pain when the memory starts. If we had an exchange of hearts, so low tone. And thank you so much, Lutong Bahay, for the dancing emoji and for staying up with me. You feel the pain when the memories are. I never wish a lonely heart on you. It's not your fault, I choose to play the fool. 'Cause one day may come when you'll be in my shoes, and your heart will break and you'll feel just like I do. If we had an exchange of hearts, then you know why I fell apart. 'Cause you feel the pain when the memories start. If we had My love won't end until too late for a second chance. Something. Ayan, I'm gonna put this one while I'm doing I'm just putting some translation. So just give me a minute, guys. Just 2 minutes, 1 minute. So I like this song also. If you know this song, one day. Ang ana. Okay, I'll just put some translation, so I can sing the reggae OPMs. Wait. I see your... Wait lang, I have to move my... Sorry, yeah, I just want to put something on here. This is just 1 minute. Because it's Tagalog, so everyone can understand. Was thinking that. Yeah, this is just what are you thinking? Lutong Barkada. What happened? So everyone can understand because we have a lot of, we have some foreign viewers. And my friends, Team Shaker also, so he can understand as well. I never wish. Scroll. What's the title of this song? I have some reggae songs, but the problem is they are OPMs. Okay. Now, let's move. My eyes is so painful. And so I'm gonna sing this song.
Green grape, strawberry, plum, grapefruit, peach.
This song, when my hair turns silver into gray.
Enjoy the taste you like.
So this will be my last reggae song. My last reggae song. So I can skip na to another song.
The Real Station.
Because I have lots of Tagalog. Oh. I still have... See, it's logging ah. Sorry, guys. It's like, stop dance. My gosh! Stop dance. Yan. So, I'm gonna sing this.
The Real Station.
The Real Station. I love this song. When your hair turns into, gray, into black. I mean, black and gray. Tayo ay matanda na. Sana di tayo magbago. Kailanman, nasaan may ito ang pangarap ko. Makuha mo pa kaya ako'y hagdan at yakapin. Hanggang pagtanda natin. Nagtatanong lang sa'yo, ako ba kaya'y ibigin mo? Kung mabuti na ang buhok ko. Pagdating ng araw, ang iyong buhok ay puputi na rin. Sabay tayo mangangarap ng nakaraan sa atin. Ang nakalipas ay ibabalik natin. Gusto ipapaalala ko sa'yo ang aking pangako na ang pag-ibig ko'y laging sa'yo. Kahit maputi na ang buhok ko. Pagdating ng araw, ang nakalipas ay babalik natin. Gusto ipapaalala ko sa'yo ang aking pangako na ang pag-ibig ko'y laging sa'yo. Kahit maputi na ang buhok ko. Kahit maputi. Ayan guys, thank you so much. Diba? I have more Tagalog songs, but I'm dubious to sing the song because we have some foreign viewers. Game Shakers, are you still awake? Did I keep you asleep? And thank you so much, Lutong Bahay. What's that? Lutong Bahay, right? Or Lutong Barkada? Lutong Barkada. Sorry, my apology. Ayan. And thank you for all the emojis. Ayan. And I will be streaming until 11 p.m. kasi I still have my work tomorrow. But before I end up my live, ayan, let me say thank you thank you so much first. Hang on na. Yan. Let me say thank you to Mr. D. And Mr. D is the first person who arrived in my stream earlier. And who else? Mr. D, Game Shakers, and I'm so bad. And Mr. D, Game Shakers, and Jar, Kuya Jeff, Coach Jackie, Ate Flora, Jam Jam, Jarpot. Did I miss anyone? Lutong Barkada, and Tita Eto, and Gabi, and Jewel, and for everyone that I missed, thank you so much. Game Shakers, and Doe, Mr. Doe. I used to call him Mr. D. I gave him the code of Mr. D for me to be able to pronounce his name properly, because sometimes I'm so bulol. I'm bulol when I normally call his name Dogo 88. So Mr. D, it's more it's more classy. And I still have 4 more songs to go, guys. So if you have your song request, please do let me know. Because why your whisper don't appear. And so because I'm ended with my all my reggae songs, and I hope you guys are enjoying listening. Game Shakers, are you still awake? And I think I have my songs. I have my last 4 songs. But if you guys have song requests, just let me know. Okay. So I'm gonna sing the next song for you guys. Tomorrow, general. Any song. I will not create any genres for tomorrow. So any song will do. So. Would have thought this is how the pieces fit. You and I shouldn't even try making sense of it. I forgot how we ever came this far. I believe we had reasons, but I don't know what they are. So blame it on my heart. Love moves in mysterious ways. It's always so surprising when love appears over the horizons. I love you for the rest of my days, but still it's a mystery how you ever came to me, which only proves love moves in mysterious ways. I'm looking for that. Heaven knows love is just a chance we take. We make plans, but then love demands a little faith. So hold me close and never ever let me go. Even though we think we know which way the river flows, that's sana